JBN, we keep you informed. Fake cops rob Clarendon fisherman of $4 million. The police are investigating a robbery that reportedly occurred this morning in the Rocky Point community of Clarendon. According to the police, a 46-year-old fisherman was held up and robbed at his home of $4 million, along with 2 cellular phones by 3 men pretending to be police officers. The men reportedly escaped in a white Toyota Probox motor car. The police said during the altercation with its attackers, the complainant punched out the window of the vehicle, resulting in injuries for which he had to seek medical attention. Detectives from the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime CTOC and Inspectorate and Professional Standards Oversight Bureau IPROBE are investigating. 66-year-old charged in relation to St. Mary gun attack. 66-year-old Archibald Rutherford, otherwise called Stone, of Freetown, Glengolf in St. Catherine, has been charged with illegal possession of firearm and ammunition, shooting with intent and wounding with intent. The charges stem from an incident on Sunday, August 2 in Sioux River, Richmond in St. Mary. Rutherford is scheduled to appear before the Port Maria Parish Court on Thursday. According to the Highgate Police, the complainant was on his way to his farm about 7 a.m. when he saw Rutherford. After passing him, the complainant reportedly heard an explosion, felt a burn to his right hand and foot, and realized that he was shot. He managed to escape, reported the matter to the police, and was assisted to hospital for treatment. Rutherford turned himself into the Glengolf police station later that afternoon. He was charged after a question and answer session with his attorney. Man killed by truck in St. Anne. The St. Anne's Bay Traffic Police are investigating the death of a 30-year-old man who was killed after a truck ran over his head in Steertown in the parish. The dead man remained unidentified up to Thursday morning and is the 54th pedestrian to be killed on Jamaica's roadways this year. Reports are that about 6:30 a.m. the man hopped onto a moving truck by the driver's door. According to information received, the now deceased man engaged the driver in conversation before he fell off the truck. His head was reportedly crushed. Since the start of the year, 258 persons have been killed in fatal crashes according to the National Road Safety Council (NRSC). Pedestrians account for 21% of the road users killed since the start of the year. Dr. Lucian Jones, convener and the vice chairman of the NRSC, tweeted about the fatal accident. "Dear God, how do you counter this kind of madness?" Senior Superintendent of Police in charge of the St. Anne Division, Calvin Small, could not be reached for comment. However, the Corporate Communications Unit confirmed the incident. "We own disputed land," says Mammy Bay Resorts. Mammy Bay Resorts Limited says it owns the 29-acre property in St. Anne that members of the Steertown and the Mammy Bay Fishing and Recreation Association Limited are claiming belongs to them. Vice President of the Fishermen's Association, Ricardo Henry, on Sunday said that the fishermen have occupied the land since the 1980s. Neither Mammy Bay Resorts Limited nor the Steertown and the Mammy Bay Fishing and Recreation Association Limited has provided documentary evidence of ownership of the property. In a press statement released on Wednesday afternoon by Mammy Bay Resorts, they disputed Henry's assertion. The property is currently owned by Mammy Bay Resorts Limited, who refutes all claims challenging ownership of the Mammy Bay property. Furthermore, the management of Mammy Bay Resorts Limited is highly disturbed by media reports making various claims that have no legitimate foundation and that are challenging ownership of the Mammy Bay property, the statement said. The property was acquired on December 4, 1996, Mammy Bay Resorts said. The company's Office of Jamaica lists Littleton Shirley and Madge Shirley as directors of Mammy Bay Resorts Limited. The company said that squatters who occupied the land then were evicted, but after negotiations, craft vendors were allowed access to the land to sell their products to tourists at the former Sandals Duns River Hotel. The new owners of the property are now ready to begin their $45 billion development, Mammy Bay Resorts said, and therefore we are requesting that they, the craft vendors, desist from all trading and remove their temporary structures. The company said that it agreed to make an ex gratia payment to 26 craft vendors whose names were submitted to us by the president of the association. An offer of $100,000 was accepted for the removal of fixtures. Miami Bay Resorts said that a request for a meeting from fishermen who later occupied the property was granted in July, where Henry asked for $20 million for assistance. Schools to reopen as planned unless there's a big COVID jump. Health officials are currently conducting a risk assessment that will help to determine whether the proposed phased reopening of schools beginning on September 7 should be delayed in light of the recent resurgence of COVID-19 cases. Minister of Education, Youth and Information Carl Samuda made the disclosure while speaking on the third day of the Jamaica Teachers Association's 56th annual conference at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James on Wednesday, August 19. If the cases continue to spike and it is deemed unsafe for students and teachers to physically return to school, we'll have to reassess the situation and put in place contingency plans to face that eventuality, he said. However, some would advise that the ministry will engage stakeholders on the matter before a final decision is made. We will hold consultations with the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, National Parent Teacher Association of Jamaica, Ecumenical Church Group, Jamaica Independent Schools Association, the Jamaica Prefect Association, the National Secondary Students Council, and representatives of tertiary institutions, among others, Samuda said. Samuda said the ministry and by extension the government are aware that teachers are anxious to return to the classrooms and that parents are keen on sending their children to school come September. He noted, however, that the administration is mindful of the latest development with COVID-19 cases, which he said are being carefully monitored. We are guided by the Ministry of Health and Wellness as we seek to ensure that all teachers and students are safe as schools reopen next month, the minister added. He emphasized that the safety of the nation's teachers and students is of paramount importance, adding that while face-to-face interaction in the classroom environment is essential, the ministry will not put the health of its teachers as well as students at risk. He said it is the responsibility of a responsible government to ensure that the safety of the teachers and the students take priority, he further stated. Samuda said if the upsurge in COVID-19 cases continues, the government will have no choice but to delay the phased reopening of school. He further indicated that the ministry will continue to meet with teachers in order to be kept aware of what's happening out there. He advised that the ministry is continuing preparations for the upcoming school year, pointing out that the arrangements are in the final stages of implementation. COPS promise to monitor those released from SOEs. All states of public emergency SOEs were lifted on Monday, and the detainees who were not charged have been set free. However, commanding officers of the various police divisions in which SOEs were in operation say these persons will be monitored. Senior Superintendent Wayne Cameron, commanding officer for the St. Andrew South Police Division, said 50 detainees were released in his division. There are plans in place to monitor them because we have done our due diligence to collect addresses, next of kin, and telephone numbers. We have gone through a whole process, he said. We refer to them as violence influencers, and so we have to pay attention to them. SOEs give authority to security forces to detain suspicious persons, enter premises, and seize properties without warrants. The SOEs were rolled out by the government in 9 police divisions. Once arrested under an SOE, persons could be detained for up to 90 days without being charged. Commanding Officer of Kingston Eastern, Superintendent Victor Hamilton, said it would not be a challenge for his division to keep track of those considered violence influencers. These are persons who were already known to the police, so to monitor them will not be a problem. They were always on the radar, he said. Commanding Officer of the Westmoreland Police Division, Superintendent Robert Gordon, said he's focused on protecting the communities to which the violence influencers would be returning. These are persons we believe to be in criminal activities, so we will continue to monitor those places that we know they operate in to ensure there is no uptick in crime and violence, he said. Our presence also serves as some level of reassurance for the wider community. JBN. We keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.